today's biology in one big fat notebook. So, we previously left off at the end of chapter 2. So we are going to continue on ahead to chapter 3. I apologize if there's a little bit more background noise. My roommates are home, and we have very thin walls. So, just pardon me. But anyways, let's get on into it, shall we? So, chapter 3, Characteristics of Life. So all living things share the same characteristic of life. They are made up of one or more cells. Cells are the basic unit of life. So all living things are made up of cells. They need energy to live, and they respond to stimuli. Also known as they react to their environment. For instance, light, temperature, and touch. Life functions. All organisms, living things, must have the potential to carry out certain behaviors known as life functions. Life functions are processes that an organism takes on to help it survive. The life functions are 1. Growth, which is an increase in the number of cells. Some organisms, in order to live better in an environment, need more cells. As more cells are made, the organism goes through the process of growth. Reproduction, which is the creation of a new organism with its own cells. A new organism is created from parent organisms. The new organism is referred to as offspring. Some offspring are born looking like their parents, for example, human babies. Other offspring are born in one form and then change as they grow or grow to another, like tadpoles changing into frogs. Reproduction can happen with either one or two parent organisms. When one parent organism reproduces by itself, the process is called asexual reproduction. The offspring looks like the parent. Bacteria usually reproduce asexually. When two parents reproduce, it's called sexual reproduction. Many plants and animals are sexual reproducers. So number 3, nutrition, the taking in of food or nutrients. Alright, so far the life functions we have are growth, reproduction, and nutrition. All living organisms need nutrients to survive. Nutrients keep an organism healthy. Organisms can be categorized according to how. Sorry. Organisms can be categorized according to how they get their nutrition. So some examples of this are autotrophs, which are organisms that can make their own food, such as plants, or heterotrophs, which are organisms that cannot make their own food, such as animals. A little description here. So auto comes from the Greek word autos, meaning self. Self. Hetero comes from the Greek word heteros, meaning other. Troph comes from the Greek word tropos, meaning one who is is nourished. So, in a way, autotroph is self-nourished. The one who is self-nourished, and then the other one is, nourished by others, heterotroph. So another life function is respiration, which is the breakdown of nutrients to get energy. After nutrients are ingested, metabolism begins. There are two metabolic processes. Digestion, where nutrients are broken down into simpler forms that are easier for the organism to use. Metabolism, which is the set of chemical reactions that maintain the life of an organism. The other metabolic processes is cellular respiration, which is using glucose and oxygen along with chemical reactions to produce energy from nutrients. The fifth life function is transport. So in humans, it involves, for example, the movement of nutrients from the stomach to the cells. Before simple nutrients can be used by cells, they must first be transported from the stomach throughout the body in a process called circulation. Circulation is the movement of something through the body of an organism. Once the nutrients reach the cell, they are absorbed and become part of the process of respiration. Life function number 6 is synthesis. So synthesis is the use of energy to build more complex chemicals within the body, such as carbohydrates and proteins. Let's get that a little bit. When an organism gets the energy it needs, it can create complex chemicals that perform various tasks. For example, it can create proteins, which help support the structure and the function of the body. 7. Life function. Excretion. Yuck. Excretion removes waste products from the body. Not all substances ingested are nutrients. Some of these substances are not useful to an organism. In these cases, the organism excretes the substance. There are some substances that act as both a nutrient and a waste product. After the organism secretes it, they must replace the product by ingesting or creating more of it. Water is an example of a material that humans ingest that is also a waste product. We drink it and also excrete it, for example, as sweat. A very, very good point. Very good point. Okay, number 8, life function is regulation. Organisms survive in changing environments by changing the conditions within their bodies. Organisms sense what is happening in their environment and adapt to any changes in order to maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis is a state of steady internal physical and chemical conditions set by the body. Homeostasis keeps an organism alive despite changing external environment. An example of homeostasis in humans. When it's hot, we sweat to cool down our bodies. When it's cold, we shiver to warm up our bodies. An organism's body can also change over time to better fit a new environment. This process is called adaptation. Some evolving creatures may gain new traits that help them survive in their environment. Number 6. Why are nutrients important? Why are nutrients important? Nutrients are important because they provide us with energy, which, as mentioned previously, all living things need to operate. Number 7. What are the methods by which nutrients can be gained? What are the methods by which they can be gained? Well, there's 2 different kinds of creatures, right? There's autotrophs and heterotrophs. So some can create their own nutrients while others have to extract nutrients from other creatures. Number 8. When a substance is not useful to the body, it is what? What do we do to it? Do you remember? What do we do to it? The answer is going to be excreted. It is excreted from the body. Number 9. What is the purpose of homeostasis? Homeostasis is a big word. It's a hard word. Homeostasis is a very important word. The purpose of homeostasis is to regulate our body and regulate the functions within a living organism, right? Every living organism operates within a certain range of different things, like temperature or, pH, things like that. So homeostasis balances all that. Number 10. How does an adaptation impact an organism's ability to survive in their environment? Interesting. Well, again, we can kind of see that up there. But essentially, it can impact it positively, usually. It'll help them survive in the environment that they are in better. It's not something they choose, it's just kind of how it works out. But yeah, let's see how we did. Yep. Okay. Very good. Alright, let's go ahead and start chapter 4. Biological classification. So classification. The process of organizing living things is called classification. Scientists classify organisms by their structure and how closely related they are. They arrange them into groups and categories based on the features they have in common. Classification hierarchy. Taxonomists, scientists who classify organisms, developed categories to organize every discovered organism. The categories are domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and finally species. The order of categories from the broadest at the top to the most specific at the bottom. So you can see the domain at the top. Domain is very, very, very broad. And most living things are gonna share the same domain. So you got domain into kingdom, into phylum, into class, into order, into family, into genus, into species, down into species, into subspecies. It looks like an upside down pyramid. Uses mnemonic to recall the classification archaea bacteria. Don't know. There are more eubacteria living in your mouth than there are humans living on Earth. Wow. But most of them are harmless. Protista, from the eukarya domain, are single-celled or multicellular organisms. Can be similar to fungi, plantae, or animalia kingdoms in behavior and structure. Next we have fungi, which are from the eukarya domain. Single-celled or multicellular organisms are decomposers, which means they break down and recycle nutrients. Mainly live in soil. Plantae, also known as the plant kingdom, from the eukarya domain, multicellular organisms, Earth's primary producers of oxygen. Plants are crucial to the life of almost all other organisms. Yay. And Animalia, also known as the animal kingdom, from the eukarya domain, multicellular organisms. They breathe oxygen during the process of metabolism. Okay. Now we're getting into phylum. Organisms in different phyla have different traits from one another. In the Animalia kingdom, there are many phyla. These phyla are divided into two categories: vertebrates and invertebrates. Vertebrates have a backbone for protection and mobility. They make up 3% of all phyla. Oh, whoa. That's my gecko. Anyways, they make up 3% of all phyla in the animal kingdom. Examples are mammals, fish, amphibians, birds, and reptiles. Invertebrates, however, have no backbone, and they make up 97% of all the phyla in the animal kingdom. Examples are arthropods, mollusks, worms. Because vertebrates have so few organisms in comparison to invertebrates, they have their own phylum, Chordata. All chordates, organisms in the Chordata group, have these features at some point in their lives. Okay. Pharyngeal slits, which are openings that connect the inside of the throat to the outside, the neck, sometimes develop into gills. Dorsal nerve cord, which runs down the back of the animal, connecting the brain with the muscles and organs. A notochord, a rod running beneath the nerve cord and supporting it. And then we have a post-anal tail, a section of the body that extends beyond the anus, used for movement. Here on people, it's our little pelvis, coccyx. Just kidding, that's our pelvis. Anyways, in many vertebrates, like humans, some of these features appear only during the embryonic stage, which is before the organism is actually born. Okay. Class. Organisms classified as chordata are separated further into groups called classes. There are 7 classes in all: 3 fish classes, Agnatha, Stralus, Contrictes, which is cartilaginous fish, and Osteichthyes, just bony fish, as well as Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves, or birds, and Mammalia, or mammals. So these are the classes. Even though these organisms are various classes, they are related because they're all vertebrates. Order. There are different groups of animals in each class. These groups are called orders. For example, primates are in order within the Mammalia class. Animals in the primates order are known for having large brains compared to their body weight, flat nails on their fingers instead of claws, and demonstrate social organization. Family. Family is the subgroup of order. also known as the great apes. Great apes are known to have a large body size, no tail, and eat both plants and other animals. Gorillas and orangutans are part of the hominidae family. Wow, that is a hard word for me. Jeez. Hominidae family. All members of this family can recognize themselves in mirrors. Oh, wow, that's actually pretty big. This type of self-awareness is only possible in complex brains. Yeah. They say that's kind of like a big step towards consciousness, is if you can actually recognize that you're looking at yourself, when you're looking in a mirror like this. Okay, so from family, we go down to genus. So there are 4 genera, which is the plural of genus, in the Hominidae family. Yeah, Homo, which is humans, Bongo, which is orangutans, Gorilla, and then Bon, which is chimpanzees and bonobos. The Homo genus is composed of organisms that walk primarily on 2 legs. Okay. The Homo genus is composed of organisms that walk primarily on 2 legs, can make tools to solve problems, and have well-developed opposable thumbs. Thumbs that can touch the other fingers. Like this. Pew, pew, pew. Homo comes from the Latin word homunus, which means human being. Oh, well. Easy enough. Only humans exist in this genus. Finally, species, which is the smallest and most specific unit of classification, is the species. Species are groups of organisms with similar characteristics that are able to reproduce only with one another. My understanding is that's kind of like the biggest takeaway from a species, is that, they can only continue reproducing, like making more offspring. They can then make more offspring if they're the same species. And that's kind of like the telltale thing. For example, humans can reproduce only with other humans. There are once 3 species within the Homo genus: the habilis, the erectus, and the sapiens. Now there's only one, the sapiens. That's us. The other 2 species have no living members. This is cute. So here we have this little guy that says, "Hi, I'm eukaryote, animalia, chordata, mammalia, primates, hominidae, Homo sapiens, aka human." So modern humans fall under the sapiens species. The species is separated from the other species by the size of its skull, which developed to protect its large brain. Like all of you fine folks out there, your big brain, sapiens are capable of making advanced tools for both survivability and entertainment. So here's an example of a species classification. So we have the domain of eukaryote. This is for a cat, right? So we have the domain of eukaryote, which is organisms with complex cells. Eukaryote. The kingdom of Animalia. The phylum of Chordata. The class of Mammalia. And you can see this kind of gets a little bit more narrow as it continues on. Order Carnivora. Family Felidae. Genus Felis. Species Catus. Good old little Catus. system of classification when referring to an organism. The new system, which entails naming species using two terms, is called binomial nomenclature. This just means a name with two terms. The first word defines the genus, which is the smallest group of the similar species, and the second word defines the species itself. Binomial nomenclature is sort of like a first and last name. One is more specific than the other. Binomial nomenclature helps scientists from all over the world know which organisms have which characteristics. Examples include humans, which are the genus Homo, species Sapiens. Dogs, it would be the genus Canis, and then species Familiaris. Now we have another kind of Latin explanation here. Alright. It looks like we are going to do another check your knowledge. So number one here. Number one. What is the purpose of classification? What is the purpose of classification? I mean, the purpose of classification is to kind of narrow down organisms and group them for easier study, I guess. What are the highest and lowest levels of classification? What's the highest? Do you remember the highest and the lowest? The highest is domain. The lowest is going to be species. Number three. What are eubacteria? Or how are eubacteria and archaebacteria different? How are they different from each other? Well, eubacteria are bacteria that live everywhere that archaea bacteria do not. So that's the difference. Which of the kingdoms survives best in hot and acidic environments? Which of the kingdoms survives hot and acidic environments? No, I want to say archaea. But I kind of thought that archaea was a domain. Do I cheat? No, I'll just stick to that. I'll just say archaea. But anyways, okay. What is a special characteristic of fungi? Well, there's a lot of cool things. But what is a special characteristic of fungi? I think probably the main one is that they are decomposers. So they decompose things for nutrients. Number 6. The phylum of organisms with a backbone is called blank. What is it called? A phylum of organisms with a backbone is called. It is going to be called vertebra or vertebrates. So these are vertebrates. is your species? What is your species? What species of human being? Species for human beings is going to be sapiens. Sapiens. Okay. Number 9. A two-term name is called a. What is this called? What is this called? What is it called? A two-term name is called what? No, look, no cheating. No, it is binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature. So the genus and the species. Number 2. Oh. What two groups make up the two-term naming system? I wonder. Now it's going to be genus and species. Alright, let's see what we did. Oh, that's just archaeobacteria. Interesting. Oh, archaeobacteria is this kingdom itself. Archaea, I think, is yeah, Archaea is the domain. Archaeobacteria. Darn it. Oh, chordata. That's right. Vertebrates is not a, it's not a phylum, chordata. But, yep, everything else here is correct. Alright, guys. Well, I think I'm going to end the video there. Looks like next time I get back into this, we'll be beginning the chemistry of life, unit 2. But yeah, so, you know, if you learned anything today, or, you know, were relaxed in any way, or just found this video enjoyable in any way, you know, please feel free to like and subscribe.